It's showtime, baby. Let's go. Woo! What's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of some of the best barbecue around. That's right, it's Midwest Best Barbecue. If you have not gone out there and tried any of the CTB wings or the Uno wings, why the hell not? Get out there this weekend. They're right there in Ward's Corner. Exit. Right there off the exit. Also, brought to you by Moorline Lager House. I will be doing my tailgate there this year, all Bengals home games, preseason games, and we might be doing a show on Tuesday nights too, but make sure you guys check out Moorline Lager House. They got a lot of cool stuff going on this weekend down there at the Lager House for Paul McCartney's birthday, Father's Day, all that cool stuff, so make sure you guys check that out. Also, the show's brought to you by Meyer Door and Window and more. Check them out at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. And one more, we got Hail Marys, your ticket to the game. Go out there, watch the Reds, hopefully win 2 in a row tonight. That'll be another winning streak. Check them out. They're right in the heart of Chevy. They have beer, specials, food trucks, all kinds of cool stuff. What is up to everybody in the chat? Brad's in there. Stranger's in there. Smash Adams is in there. Dale Altman's in there. Oh, yeah. Dot Bottle for life, for sure, Dale. Definitely. And Tony Blazin. What is up, guys? All right. Well, it's a fun football Friday. Might be the last time this is the last week we get to see any videos from the Bengals doing anything until July. So we're all going to go through some football withdrawal. But I figured I'd bring on my former seat neighbor, because I moved, unfortunately, so I had to say my former seat neighbor, my buddy from Bengals and Brews, Dale Altman. What's up, dude?
Hard dicks and helicopters.
Interesting. So did you put the hard dick toward the helicopter, and that would, like, kind of hurt?
Whip it around, man.
Okay, that's an interesting thought. Let's get to somebody who's never been on my show before, and after that comment, he's like, what the hell did I just get myself into? He's EA. He's on Twitter. He hosts lots of spaces there. Here he is. EA, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? How you guys doing?
Good. Good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't have as many the Bengals decor in the background here. I got some catching up I got to do over a little bit of time. So we'll see how it goes over the next couple of years.
There you go. Well, maybe we'll get you back on again, and you can fill in more.
No. By then it'll be right around where you guys are at, somewhere close.
There you go. All right, man. So first time you've been on my show, we got lots of stuff I can ask you. Draft, minicamp, just in general. What's your thoughts on the Bengals offseason? I'll start with it there.
So I've been very optimistic. I try to be as objective as I can. Like, of course, we're all going to be biased. Like, we're all Bengals fans, so there's going to be some optimism. But the main reason that I feel more optimistic this year than last year specifically has to be because the Bengals were a solid team last year, a really good team. Like, we were all predicting, 13-4, 12-5, and we're predicting a deep playoff run. But it was good on paper. And you can't just be this paper champion year after year, as we've noticed. We've seen teams like the Bills, ourselves, and the Niners year after year in the NFC.
You mean the sucky Niners?
Yeah.
You cussed my show.
But with things like that, man, it's just there wasn't as much depth as what we wanted, and there were some question marks, and we figured a few would break right. We're like, okay, the safety room, there's 2 questions. One of them will work. Well, both.
Neither one of them worked.
But both were kind of a miss. And then you look at the year before we were like middle of the pack in injuries. It's like, what happens if instead of middle of the pack in injuries, we're back to, I think during the Super Bowl run in 2021, number one in health in the league, or like number 3 in health in the league. Last year it was even worse because your quarterback gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have DJ Reader go out for 4 or 5 games. And you just have CTB miss 4 or 5 games. And T. Higgins misses a couple games. So it's one of those things. It's like, okay, we didn't have the depth that we needed to make a consistent run. But then you go into the draft and you're like, we need defensive tackle help. DJ Reader left. But we look like we're going to try to rush the passer more because we're not getting home outside of guys like Trey Hendrickson. You get Miles Murphy in a year 2 leap, hopefully, because you're going to have him playing more snaps. You have Sam Hubbard, hopefully healthy. And then you have a guy like Chris Jenkins, who we'll see what he is as a pass rusher, but at least the guy just plays like his hair's on fire, as much as I love the pick. And then you hope with a guy like McKinley Jackson, what he can do, he really brings something to the table. And then the thing that I think I'm the most optimistic about, outside of obviously like the defensive back room being improved because the things that they dealt with
right.
I think they were 29th, or I might be misquoted there, but it's around like 29th to 30th in the league on explosive play rate. The things they were giving up with deep passes last year, I mean, we never
ridiculous.
saw that in the Jesse Bates, Von Bell era. We never saw it.
No.
So I think it's one of those things where you go and get Geno Stone, you bring back a locker room guy that can teach everybody the terminology and keep guys on a line.
Get him in the right position.
Yeah. Hey, can we line up?
Line up correctly would help.
Yeah, so I think with the optimism of the secondary, and the other thing that I'm really trying to gauge it correctly, I should say, is the wide receiver room. Mm-hmm. Because I understand everybody's going to be excited about T and Jamar, but I know ultimately what they are. Jamar is one of the 5 best receivers in football when he's healthy.
What do you think about Smash Adams here thinks Burton will go crazy this year? I tend to agree with him.
Yeah, I see, but here's I'm really high on Burton. When we took the pick, the one thing that I do during draft time, the only thing that I can actually break down and go over specifically in all 22s or film is wide receiver tape. I didn't really go over Burton's tape. I went over 8 guys, and the guy that I was looking at in that area was like Devontae Walker from North Carolina and a few other players that I was looking at. What was the guy at a UCF? Javon Baker, and I was like, these are the guys that I'm looking at round 3, round 4. And then I heard Jermaine Burton. I was like, I know the talent's there. I just never looked at it. I never dove deep into what he can do. And it's apparent. I think with him, though, and Yoshi battling for that 3 spot and being a consistent outside guy is fascinating because one of them, in my estimation, one of them is going to hit. They're both super talented guys. Like even Yoshi, you might think like, well, what do you mean? The guy was one of the best athletes we've ever tested at the combine on the RAS scale. Mm-hmm. Then as a rookie, and last year we all said it's the best receiver room in football before the season. He still gets snaps in the red zone and has 4 touchdowns and 200+ yards. So that's something that's like, if you did that as a 6th-round pick, what does it look like when Tyler Boyd's out of the picture?
What's
and
your
you
thoughts
get a whole
there?
offseason just to train for football, and the speed of the game. I love this receiver room because they've been dying for speed, and they finally got it.
Yeah, not to cut you off or anything, but we're trying to bring Dan here. He's a draft guy too. So Dan, were you? I don't know if we've ever actually discussed this. How surprised were you with the Burton pick? As far as he's talking about different wide receivers that EA looked at. Where were you at on that pick?
I had Burton more as like a day 3 guy, and it was because of all the character concerns that you would hear about. It was the punching the female. It was the 2 years in the doghouse at Georgia, the 2 years he was there. The 2 years at Bama, same thing, always in the coach's doghouse. He seems like a fiery, passionate guy, and if you watch the thing at the Tennessee, the post-game thing, it's really not as bad as that was portrayed, initially. So not saying whatever. He's got to control his emotions on the football field in general. But the talent is definitely there. There was definitely other guys, too, like they had, I think it was Jalen McMillan from Washington they had in for a visit. So he was somebody who they could have picked there. They took Burton. It surprised me initially, but, the talent's never been the problem. And I think here he's out there and he said, I want to be catching balls from Joe even when he's just warming up before the game, this, that, and the other. He wants to get as much as he can, familiarity with Joe, familiarity with the offense. I think the sky's the limit for him, and especially to learn behind Chase. And Higgins will be here eventually
he will.
To play this season. I think that the room looks good. And Yoshi, another thing with Yoshi that you mentioned, EA, is, coming in as a rookie, he was a track athlete at Princeton too. So he was a dual sport guy. And now he's focusing on one thing. He's had a full season to focus on one thing, a full off season to just focus on that. And all it's glowing reports for him. I don't know where Sizzle, how much he's going to play. I think he'll definitely factor as a return guy. I think he'll get snaps in the slot, but that receiver room is pretty stacked, even losing Tyler Boyd.
Well, and I even want to put Kaseki in there. I know he's listed as a tight end, but he's more of a receiver. He's going to play tight end, but you're not going to put him in there to block. That's another guy you're adding to this receiver room. I actually think we are more. I don't know. We have more talent in the room. I won't say more talented. We have more talent in the room, and we have more diverse guys, I think. Because before it was always T and Jamar on the outside and TB on the inside. I think he can move a lot of guys around. T's still going to be outside, but I think Jamar can move around a lot. I think Burton's going to move around a lot. I think Kaseki's he can play slot too, even being a tight end. I think there's going to be a lot of different things that this offense can do with these different wide receivers we got. Go ahead, EA, what you got?
No, just to that point, I think the thing is too with a player like Yoshi, as you said, you were saying he was a track and field guy at Princeton. He did really well there as well. Miles Murphy talked about this, even though he didn't really necessarily play two different sports. There's a difference between I'm in combine shape and I'm ready to go for the combine to try and have myself prepped and ready to go so I can run a fast 40, bench press many times. And then I'm ready for football and playing the game of football. Because you saw the same thing with Jamar, his rookie year, the first couple, remember the drop issue and people were freaking out saying, was this guy even worth it as a top 5 pick? Jamar had to train for 20 months because he took his whole junior year off. He trained specifically to have the best combine imaginable.
Right.
And then after the combine, it's like, wait, I haven't played football in a year and a half. I got to remember how to get in the game and feel those juices flowing and go out and do the right thing. So I think for a guy like Yoshi, to your point, him specifically focusing on this and Burton being the kind of guy, the thing that I was really high about Burton too, just with him, with those two, I almost have them meshed together. Burton had 0 drops in college football last year. And if you guys, I don't know if you guys are big college football fans, but playing with Jalen Milroe and that offense, to have 0 drops is pretty impressive.
Good. Yeah.
Well, pretty impressive.
Yeah, because he's not the most accurate quarterback. Exactly. I think Dustin Croft here. He said, let's pound the rock this year, set up the deep crossers. It was fun watching the Lions offense last year and how open their wide receivers like St. Brown were eye candy, baby. Now, I have a question. Pounding the rock for me is a big back. We don't have that. I think we're going to run it, but I still don't know if we're going to run it as much as everybody wants us to. I think we're going to run it more, and I think these guys fit the offensive scheme a little better than Mixon did. But I still don't know if we're going to pound it a lot. What do you think there, Dale?
I think we always talk about, going under center more and play action. And I think we'll see more of that if everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, that's why they brought in Zach Moss. He is a better running back out of shotgun than Joe Mixon, statistically. Mm-hmm. And that's something that he can do very well. So I do think that it'll look a little different, or maybe it won't look different, but I think it may be more effective. I don't think Zach Moss is as good of a pure running back as Joe Mixon, but I think, as you mentioned, Jeff, he will fit this offense better, and that's key. And one thing I like to go back to Jermaine Burton real quick is just the deep ball. He's phenomenal at the deep ball. The way he tracks the ball downfield is incredible. Making adjustments, getting open, at the catch point, just that last step or two on somebody. And I think that can make a big difference because we've seen some plays even late in the season with Chuck Sizzle where it's if he would have been, just going full speed or whatever, they would have hit these passes. And I think having that other deep threat in this offense is going to be key.
I think it's too, we haven't even talked about it with a guy who may or may not make this team. I hope he does. It's one of the guys you meet a lot last year is Tanner Hudson. I don't know if he – is there a spot? This is the one for me that I'm is there a spot for him on this team? That's the one that I would like there to be one, but I don't know if there is or not.
That's really tough because Tanner Hudson's going to be 30 to 31 this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand Tanner McLaughlin is an old rookie. He's going to be 25 during his rookie year, and he's a 6th-round pick. But if you have a 25-year-old that has real hand. He's a real pass catcher. He has real hands, and he's not great after the I mean, there's a reason why he's a 6th-round pick. But I'm saying he has similar skill sets, and he's cheaper. He's here for 4 years, and he's younger, and you invested something in him. This wasn't a practice squad guy. Right. It's almost like you're probably just going to roll with the guy that's developmental, and you can say, like, hey, we hit on a 6th-round pick, rather than that. Because, I mean, Gesicki, Sample, and all whenever he's cleared. And
all might take a red shirt year. I don't. It depends on how. I kind of said that. Maybe not. I don't know. They could push him back just to make sure.
At least Pup, right? Pup.
At least Pup.
Grant you 6 weeks potentially to roster the Hudson.
Exactly. And like, this is that's the other reason when we were talking about like the optimism for this season. I think this is the best pass catching room, like collectively, as far as tight ends and receivers. That Joe Burrow's ever played with,
and running backs. I mean,
and
nothing against Joe Mixon, but I think Chase Brown and Zach Moss are better route runners and better pass catchers.
Well, Mixon had great hands, but the problem is you can't play Mixon. We all thought it was sometimes to just boring standstill that people like, Mixon's bad at pass blocking. I'm like, great. I've known this for 5 years. I can't talk about it. Yeah, Samaje Perine plays on 3rd downs. I know
exactly.
That. But I think if just one of these tight ends in some way, whether it's Gesicki or All comes in and he plays really well, or Tanner Hudson still it builds on last season even though he's 30, or even McLaughlin, whatever the case may be, this is the most talented tight end room we've had. And then you factored in with more explosiveness, and this was to the point when you brought up Zach Moss, Dale, when you were saying about him being a better runner out of shotgun. Zach Moss had played about a little bit less snaps than Joe Mixon last year, had less carries than Joe Mixon, because Jonathan Taylor was on the team, and I know Zach Moss played like the first 6 weeks, he was pretty much the starter. He had almost double, or maybe one more than double, of the explosive play runs than Joe Mixon had of 20 yards last year, and he was less carries, and they're all out of shotgun. So you're looking at a guy that gives you double the explosive play rate, because teams play us, we know, light boxes against the Bengals all day, because they're telling you, we don't ever feel like it's okay if they get 5 or 6 yards sometimes, because we're going to bet we're eventually going to put them in a 2nd on 7, 2nd and 8, and then they've got to throw the ball back-to-back plays, and we get to tee off on Joe Burrow. If you have a guy that can just once every game when they're playing light boxes punish a team with a 20, 30-yard run, him or Brown, you're talking about a whole different world where teams are like, well, I don't know. We can't just bank on them getting 6 yards. They might get 30. They might end up at midfield. Go look at the Indy game or look at the Jaguars game the second half. Chase Brown had 6 carries for like 60-something yards and a 35-yard run. So
I also think too, like getting both the running backs. So Brown, I think because Mixon was still getting like 75% of the snaps every year, including last year, almost every game, 75% of the snaps. I think even if you can get it to 55-45 or whatever it is, 50-40 and 10 for Travion, and just having more of a rotation, because that's what the NFL mostly is, unless you have like a elite of the elite Saquon Barkley.
How many elite running backs are there? I mean, there's only 2, 3, maybe 4, really?
Less than a handful.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of them is coming off like a completely broken leg, who's in our division.
Right.
And the other one of them that's considered elite, Derrick Henry, has over 2,000 touches in his career.
I look, all right, so I ask you guys this question, and I do think that Derrick Henry is a really good fit for the Ratbirds.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling, and maybe I'm just hoping this happens, that he's getting. We'll just talk about all the runs he's had, all the pounding he's had, because they worked the crap out of him down in Tennessee. I wonder if this is the year, and I'm hoping it is. Obviously, I wonder if this is the year that he kind of falls off a cliff, because all running backs, most running backs, do that anymore. They do good, then they're. And I'm wondering, with as much pounding as he's had, if this is the year for that to happen.
So personally, my thought, like Derrick Henry might be the biggest outlier in football history. We don't know yet, because you look at the carries at Bama in high school and even in the NFL, the guys had the biggest workload maybe of any running back outside of like 70s Earl Campbell. It's wild stuff. But even with that being said, the thing that to the Ravens, to me, that no one's brought up the whole offseason, which is a very weird thing that it's just like a nonchalant, like, yeah, all right, I guess, is the Ravens are replacing 3 starting offensive linemen.
Thank you. That's
So
what
John Simpson.
I've been saying that.
Yeah, so John Simpson, Morgan Moses, and who's the Kevin Zeitler. They all 3, 2 went to the Jets, Zeitler went to the Lions, and you're looking at a team where it's like, I know you have Lamar, and his escapability and his avoidance of sack rate is super high. That's not what I'm so much worried about with that team, because he's not going to take a lot of hits. He's too mobile. But consistent pressure on the quarterback from the interior, because you lost 2 interior guys, and not being able to just, hey, it's late in the game, the Ravens have a 7-point lead and have a great defense. Let's just churn out the clock and run. I don't think you can do that anymore.
They lost one of their defensive players too. Who's the one that
they lost? Patrick Queen.
And
Stillers
and Stone to us, but I mean Queen's the bigger one.
They lost.
So I mean, that's
Patrick
where
Queen.
everybody keeps talking about. I'm with you. Everybody keeps talking. Oh, they added Derrick Henry. I'm like, that's it though. They've lost more than they've added.
Well,
that's where I'm like.
The most important piece to me is you lose McDonald, who, in my estimation, like you look at the scheme that he ran at Michigan, which was the number 1 defense or the number 2 defense in the country in 2021, but he was building something.
Right.
And then he goes to the Ravens. He's like, you got to give me Roquan Smith. I need a real linebacker, because Patrick Queen was about to be like, we're not even extending you. This isn't even considered. There's a reason why he didn't get a 5th-year pickup, even though he was an all-pro.
Right.
And his defensive scheme and what he's done, it's not coincidental that he had the number 2 defense in college, and it was only behind that historic Georgia defense. And then he goes to the NFL and he has the number 2 defense last year, and then the number 1 defense this year. And then Jesse Minter, who's now on the Chargers defensive coordinator, had the number 1 defense who runs the same scheme at Michigan last year. It's that defensive scheme that you're losing, and you lose some of the personnel. Granted, I think the Ravens are still going to be a top 10 defense, but it's not going to be
like it was last year.
We are without a doubt one of the 5 best defenses in the last decade in the NFL. Like, I think there's a clear regression there that people just want to ignore because the defensive coordinator's gone.
What's your thoughts, Dale? As you cough and hit mic, hit mute.
Yeah, I had a cough. You call on me right when I'm coughing, but I didn't mute.
By the way, I'm not trying to be like you. I'm just hot as hell down here. I'm like, I got the lights on. I'm like, holy crap! I'm starting to freaking sweat.
It's actually cold in my place. I got to turn down, man. It's it's like 90. It's like
I'm
90 degrees outside.
I refuse to put the air on yet. That's why I'm down here sweating. Anyway, go ahead, Dale.
I think somebody had a good question. I can't remember where it was. Oh yeah, Michael Madden. Did the Bengals do enough to improve stopping the run? So as we're talking about, Derrick Henry and the running game and Nick Chubb, when he comes back, he'll be back eventually, but coming off that injury. And we lost DJ Reader, but I do find it very interesting because of Chris Jenkins. That's what he's known for at Michigan. And I think there's pass rush juice there for sure. I think there's more to that than what he showed, but he is a phenomenal run stopper, even though he's under 300 pounds. Not the same body type as DJ Reader.
Right.
But then you also bring in McKinley Jackson. And I think you got better with Sheldon Rankins as far as your pass rush juice up the middle to combine with BJ Hill. And I think BJ Hill is pretty solid against the run as well. So I just think it's going to be, damn, Jeff. I think it's going to be everybody, is going to have to do more and be more bought in. And it's not like we can just rely on this guy, especially when you're going against Lamar Jackson and King Henry and those guys in a game. So what are your thoughts, EA, as far as that, as far as how much have they improved against the run or defense as a whole?
So last year I believe, again, they were 29th against the run. And I think it's one of those things where there's this idea of like, we have to be elite against the run. We have to stop it all the time. I just think you just need to find a good middle ground. If this is a defense where you're putting consistent pressure on the quarterback, which clearly they're trying to turn the edge and do, because the only guy that was getting consistent pressure outside of, in the last 3 years, if we go over it, there was like a 6-game Larry Ogunjobi stretch in 2021, and then he breaks his foot. And then there was the end of 2022 where it looked like Joseph Osai had really turned a corner, and then he gets hurt last year again. And
that's what I'm waiting for.
Right. And then this past year, it's like the only guy was Trey. And you got a rookie in Miles who flashed, but it's like, this is a 21-year-old. Like, the 21-year-olds don't come in the league and just unless they're like they're special.
Tell that to half the Bengals fans who kept asking, "What's wrong with him? This is why did we draft him?" I'm like,
Miles
relax.
Murphy, to me, his comp, if anybody wants to feel more comfortable about the player and like what his whole package is as an individual, I think it's Rashawn Gary. And Rashawn Gary right now just got paid $100 million and gets double-digit sacks every year. Rashawn Gary and him tested very similar size. The way that they play as individuals is like, I'm a freak athlete, you're not. I'm going to win consistently because I'm the better athlete at all points in time. But your game is super raw because they were super high recruits coming out of high school, played in weird schemes in college because Miles Murphy played under Brent Venables for 2 years. Flourished under Brent Venables. Flourished at Clemson his sophomore year. Brent goes to Oklahoma. His junior year is super weird because they get their very first defensive coordinator that's different in a decade.
Right.
A decade. So then his junior year, he takes a step back. Before that season, Miles Murphy was a lock top 10 pick.
Right.
A lock. And then he tests out of this world. He goes to the pitcher, man. And
I knocked Corey over. Damn it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me that anybody would be like, I don't know. When you draft 21-year-olds, you hope they're not a finished product. That'd be crazy. If you drafted a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old that's a finished product, like, what do you mean? That's not how any of this works. They drafted this because they said in a couple of years, when Trey gets older, and hopefully in year 2, they can both be elite together, or not even elite together, they'll be good pass rushers together, and this can be our next guy. And the other thing is, like, Sam Hubbard's 29. You need a guy that, like, hey, Sam, we want you to be the guy that stops the run. You're important to us. You matter to the culture and the rebuild here. You're the last guy of the Marvin Lewis era. Okay, but we know what your limitations are. We're going to bring in this young guy that gives Trey some real juice next to him so we can get after the quarterback.
I think Sam's going to kick inside a lot more this year, too. And Murphy, I think, is going to have. I agree with everything everybody's saying here. Man, all kinds of stuff's falling off of him now.
It ain't going to be falling off the walls, man.
I know. What the heck? Did Corey hit the ground? Sam hit the ground? What the hell? What was it? Oh, yeah. So I think I agree with what you guys are saying. I think that was an emphasis. It seemed like this year in the offseason is to get more pressure on the quarterback with the Sheldon Rankins and the way they went.
Yeah, the interior pass rush.
Yes, interior rush on the which if you get more push up the middle, that's going to free up Trey Henderson more and Miles Murphy and hopefully Joseph Osai. That's where I think their concentration was. Is not. I mean, they want. Like, I agree with what you're saying. They want to stop the run, but I think they want to get pressure up and then and get the double teams off the guys on the outside. We just
need to be average. Just be average against the run, and then if you're elite at getting to the quarterback, it doesn't matter that you're average against the run.
Right.
Like it doesn't. And you can't be 29th. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to be like, we're probably going to run different fronts this year because you can't play the same way without a DJ Reed, a 340-pound guy that can move people that way. They're going to run a lot of different fronts. They're probably going to have these young guys and see what they really have as far as juice early on in the season. Keep these older guys like Rankins and DJ Hill healthy. Because the other thing, too, that wasn't sustainable, 2022 was great. But like I said, the biggest problem for 22 was, if you go look at it, our 2 defensive tackles played the most snaps out of like any 2 defensive tackles in the league.
Right.
And that's not sustainable.
You see Sam Hubbard. I don't want to see Sam Hubbard and Trey Henderson on the sideline going.
Remember when Trey almost looked dead against Tennessee in 21?
Yeah, that's what I want. I said this last year. That's when we drafted Miles Murphy, and I was hoping Joseph Osai was going to have a good year.
Right.
Those 2 need to step up this year to take snaps off of Sam and especially Trey. Trey will go until his heart explodes. I mean,
that guy
he won't quit. I mean, he just got
to.
And trust me, I've seen the blackout Trey looking for down at training camp all the way. He's walking around. Hey Trey, what's up? All of a sudden, I'm like, oh shit! Damn, he was
just for you.
Yeah, he's like that damn Iceman is always down here. God, I'm gonna kick his ass. No, I'm just kidding.
I think another thing too that I'm trying to gauge it with a lot of fans because I want to see where they're at, and it's interesting to me because I don't want people to completely give up on Joseph Osai. I know he's been hurt 2 out of the 3 seasons, and this is his
contract year.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, he's a David Mulligetta guy.
Damn it.
So he's going to try to perform, like he's trying to get all the money he can. Then he needs to perform because he's been hurt 2 out of his 3 seasons, and he did play really well in year 2. But remember, those first 6 games, he really didn't have a role. What they ended up doing with him is, remember how you were saying like Sam kicking inside and stuff like that this year? So in 22, the way that they were able to be elite against have an elite pass rush without Trey Hendrickson really playing well, because Trey Hendrickson was hurt the whole second half of 22, broken wrist, knee issues. He still played through it. I think he had 8.5 sacks that year, and he had like 1 in the playoffs. He didn't provide much pass rush because he's banged up. Joseph Osai kicked a 3-tech. Like, he lined up at 3-tech on the inside, and he was causing so much havoc that whenever I went and I remember going over the tape, as painful as it was, of the 22 AFC Championship.
I was there.
Oh, you were there.
I was there.
Okay, yeah. Well, the thing about that game, that only reason I couldn't get mad at Osai, he may have been our best defensive player in the game.
He was the most dominant player in that game, I think, until the last minute of the game or whatever.
The last play.
Yeah, the last play.
And he's
all over the place.
Pat is running for Pat really couldn't run that much, but Pat's just like, I got to get the ball out of here.
Yeah,
this guy's in the backfield every play.
Right. That's where Ian. That's where I was like last year. I was really and surprised of how Osai was not even on the field. Now comes to find out he was injured again, almost the whole year. That's where that's the guy I'm hoping we see consistently this year. We see him that we saw, except for the stupid play at the end of the game and then the AFC Championship game.
Right, yeah.
If we get a consistency like that out of Joseph Osai, dude, he's gonna go somewhere else to make a whole bunch of money, right? Because they won't pay him. But 2, he's gonna be a hell of a player for us, man, and that's gonna be huge for our pass rush.
Imagine pass rush downs. Imagine pass rush downs where it's like those NASCAR packages or speed packages.
Yep. We were talking about last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Trey on the outside, Osai at 3-tech. You've got Rankins on the other inside defensive tackle, and you've got Miles Murphy on the other edge. That's so many athletes.
Give me.
Yeah, yeah, man. It reminds me a lot of the 21 season when Ogunjobi was healthy, where it's like Hubbard had his career best year. He had double-digit sacks that year. It was his best year as a pass rusher. And then you have Trey give you 14.5. Ogunjobi gets like 7.5 next to B.J. Hill, and D.J. Reader got a breather. D.J. Reader was like, I'm fresh, man. I'm ready to go.
It's that rotation. I've talked about that all the time. I want that rotation back.
It's like this year, obviously the defensive tackle room has to be better. And then you think about a player like Zach Carter and his struggles and what you'd like to see. It's like, ultimately, if you can have a guy like McKinley Jackson show you something, and you can just have a 4th rotational guy between him and Zach, where it's like, which one of you is playing better? So we can just have bodies on the field.
Do you think Zach Carter even makes this team this year?
What is it?
Do you think Zach Carter even makes his team this year?
I think he's going to be D-tackle 5. I think they invested a 4th-round pick in him, and they're going to be like, listen, this is year 3. We asked you to change positions. You've struggled really bad, but at the same time, too, they seem a little, as much as I love the Bengals, they're always a little bit late with cutting the rope with guys like this. At least the guy that tries, because like Zach Carter does try. He doesn't. I mean, he hasn't been successful so far, but like ultimately, it's like, this is your last year. We're going to see what you're really capable of, because now we have other defensive tackles in the room going forward. If you're not doing your job next year, Sheldon Rankins is still under contract. Crinch Jenkins is going into year 2. And you have McKinley Jackson potentially, if he ends up being anything, and you have the draft. It's like, if you're just not good, because B.J. Hill's not under contract for the following year, but it's like, if you're not good, we will just draft somebody in round 2 or round 3, and we'll see you later.
Good, so, Dan, what's your thoughts on Zach Carter? Or it's how you're going to say something there.
Oh, just in general with the D-line, I think Miles Murphy I think he flashed. To go back to the
especially toward the end of the year, right? He definitely flashed.
Well, he was limited snaps for most of the season. He didn't get a ton of snaps. Osai was getting snaps. His snaps decreased because he wasn't producing. So if you look at the snap count, Osai was getting a ton, and we all thought he would break out based on how he did the year before toward the end, but he didn't. But Miles Murphy, it felt like every opportunity he got, whether it was against the run, it's like his effort, his size, everything about Miles Murphy, he flashed to me. Like people are like, oh, we need to see more out of him. It's like, cool, he needs to play more. When he's on the field, he looks good. And I think with an increased workload, he's going to look even better. And he looks bigger this year, like quite a bit bigger. And I think he's going to be a nasty motherfucker, to be honest.
You go look at that tape. I believe it was Bengals Sands. He always does a great job with the film
Yeah.
reviews and stuff. He's always done good.
Yep.
Bengals Sands did a breakdown, I believe it was, of that Vikings game by Miles Murphy. Like, guys, that's against Christian Darrisaw. And Miles Murphy's like, I'm 21 and you can't handle me. You are in the prime of your career.
Right.
You're one of the best tackles in the league. You can't do anything about me. So if he's doing that then, and then you go look at the Steelers game the first time against the Steelers, he lived in the backfield. Again, Dale, like you said, it just comes down to like, can you give him 60% of the snaps and live with him being maybe an okay run defender when Sam Hubbard's not on the field and being like, we'll live with that because when it's a pass rush down, you're living in the backfield, and we got Trey Hendrickson on the other side.
The thing is, too, I think Sheldon Rankins is going to be a little better run defender than he's actually given credit for, too, to be honest. So it's not going to be.
I think so as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not going to be like DJ Reader. There's only a couple guys like DJ Reader. He's going to be hard to replace. But I think Sheldon Rankins is a better run defender than he's given credit for. Now, one thing I'll put it up, Michael Madden had this question. I haven't heard this. He said, I thought I heard Miles Murphy said he wasn't in football shape last year, which, I mean, he could have been in like EA said, in
yeah, he said he was in combine shape.
Yeah,
he
combine
said, I wanted
shape,
to run the best combine.
Yeah.
He's like, and because that's what makes you your money, man. As much as though you hate to admit it, it's like if you go out there and you're super knowledgeable in all the draft meetings and stuff like that, it sounds great. They don't give a shit. What do you do in the underwear Olympics? What do you do out there whenever these guys are running on tracks in India? And it's like, this guy ran a 4.5. We're taking
me and Dale had that problem all the time. We have to do the underwear Olympics all the time.
Yeah.
And people are always asking us about that. And it gets a little weird sometimes. Like, really, again? We just did this last week. I'm like, all right, whatever. Anyway, sorry.
But I mean, that's what, like, everybody was shitting on Marvin Harrison for not doing this, that, and the other. And he said, I'm just going to stay in game shape. So he
didn't have to. He was going to get drafted anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know, the man went top 5 as he knew he would.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, that's the thing. Like, for guys like Miles Murphy, that could have been the difference, not having that great last season, as EA mentioned earlier.
Right.
You know, he needed to have a good combine to make sure he went in the first round and not slide into the second. That's money. Don't fuck with my money.
Yeah. I think, too, it's like maybe that's like you said, like, maybe that's why early in the season he's like, man, like they're like, he's not ready. And then by week 10, they're like, all right, he's in better shape now. He understands because Lou Anarumo runs a complex defense. Like you look at the safeties last year, Nick Scott's head was turning every other play. Where am I at? What do I do? Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where if Miles is comfortable this year and he knows where he's supposed to be, he trusts his alignment. And he, like you said, he looks bigger. He looks like he's more prepared for the season. If this guy's ready to go like that next to Trey and what Trey's capable of, I mean, second in sacks in the NFL last year. This defense, this could be the best pass rush defense, I think, this year. As good as, like, remember, like, I think it was 2012, the 2012 team where it was, like, Prime Dunlap, Geno. I don't think it'll be that same way because you don't have an all-pro level talent, like, as far as interior pass rusher, because Geno's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you're going to have an elite team where it's like there's too many solutions for the defensive line. It's like, oh, well, Trey isn't going. Okay, well, Miles Murphy has a mismatch on the other side because that guy can't stick with him. Oh, well, Trey and Miles, there's 2 good tackles. Okay, well, if Osai pops, then he's at 3 tech, and it's like, yeah, well, if Joe Tooney couldn't stay with them 2 years ago, who's one of the 4 best guards in the league, I don't know, just name a guard in our division outside of like Joel Bitonio.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I had a
you're
question
good.
for
You're good, man.
All right, so people ask about the linebackers. That
D line should help.
The D line should help. Plus, this is my thinking. Now we got Von Bell, we got Stone there. These guys will help them get lined up sooner. I think that's going to help the linebackers. There's so many times I saw Logan Wilson looking back going, what are we doing? Too many times, you know. I think that right there, getting lined up in the right spots, is going to help the defense tremendously because I think there's a lot of times we weren't lined up in the right spot or he made the calls too late.
Right. I think that's the biggest reason with the Von Bell stuff is like, I don't think Von Bell's going to start. I think it's going to be battle ultimately. But I think Von Bell comes in and he's safety 3, which is still, we play 3 safety looks. We do. So he's still going to play. It's like,
not as much as people think we do, but we do play it.
Right. It's like, so you're going to play some. You're the guaranteed first guy off the bench for one of those guys. And you know all the terminology. You tell these guys, I was part of a Super Bowl team. I know how this works. I know what a good defense looks like. It wasn't that last year. So let's fix this. Let's fix the line of communication. Let's understand that terminology. Let's trust each other a little bit. Let's know our alignments. And if you're able to bring in a guy like that, and that goes to the point with Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt, man, with this defensive line, if you just play different fronts, or if you're an average defensive line against the run, I mean, it's as simple as your linebackers are bad, in quotations. Everyone thought 2 years ago that JOK on the Cleveland Browns was like one of the worst linebackers by metrics in the league.
Right.
Last year, he was one of the best, and that's because the Browns were simply just, we're going to go get Dalvin Tomlinson. We're going to go get we're going to get a Maurice Hurst that hits. We're going to go get another guy in a defensive tackle room. Like, they had so many bodies, and they had an average defensive tackle room. It was like, oh, JOK looks great. It's like, yeah, because he doesn't have a guard in his lap 7 yards down the field.
Right.
Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt can't deal with 300-pounders getting a 7-yard run at them.
No.
And it's like, what do you want them to do? We know they're good when they have the right pieces in place.
Exactly. Michael Bennett has got two pretty good questions. I'll bring this up now because you brought it up, and I want to get your thoughts on this. So, where do you think with Stone will be Bell at safety, or will be Jordan Battle? You just said you think it'll be Battle, which I think is kind of interesting. Because I think it'll be Battle eventually, but I think beginning of the season it's going to be Bell. I think Lou is done with not having people in the right spots, and I think he brought Bell back here to make sure that happens. Unless Jordan Battle balls out, which I think, like I said,
Jordan Battle balled out last year. Put some respect on that man's name, Jeff.
I think he played good too.
I was about to say that he balled out last year. He played great, but I think the thing is, I think Lou wants everybody in the right positions. I just think that's
right.
I think he's sick of that. And that's just my thoughts. I don't know. Go ahead, Dale or EA. What do you got?
Dale, you go ahead and go first. You were saying it. Go ahead.
I just think Jordan Battle, I mean, if you take off snaps and you PFF, whatever, you can think what you want about it. But he was 8th overall safety grade-wise, Jordan Battle was, if you take off the limited snaps. I thought he played incredible, and it's going to be his second year in the system. But it will be, Jeff, I think, to your point, if he's going to be on the field over Von Bell, who Lou still trusts a lot, even though he was gone for a season, it's going to have to be in the classroom as much as it is on the field for him. Right. But I think he was a 4-year starter at Alabama, guys. 4-year starter.
And then, look, this was no Jordan Battle hate, by the way. I love Jordan Battle. I think he's great.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, man, because, like, I just feel that Battle was good enough last year, and Lou just wants to bring in, like, not a mentor, because I think, like, mentorship as far as...
I think he just wants to fucking fix it. I think he's just tired of it.
How can you turn down Von Bell for minimum money when Carolina's paying it? That's also...
Right, exactly. That too.
But we'll see what happens, because I truly do think... I think Battle's going to be the starter. I think Von Bell's going to be the guy that, like, fixes the line of communication. And early in the season, I don't think... Lou's going to be scared to be like, hey, maybe we'll figure it out in OTAs. I mean, not OTAs, but like during all the stuff leading up to the season, we're going to see this stuff in practice. Because there was one day that Von Bell was safety one. There was another day that I saw there was tweets that Jordan Battle was safety one. So it's like, this will work itself out ultimately.
Oh, yeah.
I could see snaps with Battle. I could see snaps with Battle and Bell. Could you as well? Like, Geno Stone, he's very good against the pass with the interceptions. He's tackler. Not known as a great run defender at all.
Yeah, the thing is with Geno is the way that he was able to play deep half last year and play that center fielder role like it, and this is just the truth. There isn't. I've said this since 2020 actually, and people were always like, "Oh, your team sucked this year. We don't care. You're a bit." It's like, all right, I get it. Like, but I've went over this stuff and I've watched people that I respect go over it. Jesse Bates is still the best center fielder in football. It's not really close either. In my opinion, it's not really close. But a guy that can mimic it in a way that's at least, it's in a way where it's like, all right, you're passable in this, and you're going to make us not give up nearly the explosive play rate. Right. Geno Stone does a really good job. He does He was in a complex defense. Like the Ravens are the most complex defense in football under McDonald. McDonald ran like the most like mixed mass coverages with like every play changing and variance in the league. And he was always in the right spot. He was second in the NFL in interceptions. You don't do that by accident. You got to, even if you go watch the tape and you're like, yeah, it's an easy pick, you still have to be in the right spot. You still have to do your job. So I think with him doing that in a Ravens defense, Lou is a complicated, we've said it. He's a mad scientist.
Yep.
This guy is going to put this team in a position where he's like, I want to get back to these mixed match coverages against, because the way that you confuse these elite quarterbacks is you can't just sit, we're going to drop 8 every play, or we're going to blitz every play, or we're only going to send 4. They'll eat you alive. They'll eat you alive. He wants to get back to that complicated defense that threw off MVP Aaron Rodgers 3 years ago, threw off Lamar Jackson multiple times, threw off Josh Allen twice.
Patrick Mahomes
threw off Patrick Mahomes a couple times. It's like you got to get – if you want to beat the best, you can't be simple. Like, if you look at the Ravens defense last year, I don't think it's coincidental. They were the best defense under a scheme that had the most variance in their play calling. So, really excited about Geno. And I hope Jordan Battle starts. I'll be honest. I'm kind of pulling for Jordan Battle. I'm a big Jordan Battle guy. I've loved him at Bama.
I love Jordan Battle. I was actually pleasantly surprised that it brought Bell back. I understood why, because Jordan Battle played so well. But like Dale says, we get Bell back at minimum, and the Carolina Panthers are still paying him. That's a no-brainer.
Well, they've wanted to do 3 safeties a lot. You could go back to Ricardo Allen when they brought him in, and they didn't quite.
And we can see that more this year.
Yeah,
we could. I mean, I don't think we haven't seen as much the last couple of years as we did before. But now that we have 3 of them that are capable safeties, we could see it more often this year.
Versatility is good. Lou loves versatility to disguise coverage, to disguise this, to disguise what they're doing, and I think that having a Von Bell that can, line everybody up, he'll play. He'll play a lot, regardless who's the starter. But I think Jordan Battle's also going to play quite a bit.
Yeah. Now we're all off camera. No,
hey, real quick. I'm actually I'm going to hop off here. Hop off here real quick.
Yeah.
But this has been great. I want to thank you guys for having me on, man. Anytime you guys want me to hop on here and talk about Bengals football, I'm more than free. This is fantastic.
Awesome. I appreciate you, EA. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Y'all have a good one, man.
Good shit, brother. Have a good one.
So I was going to bring up the 2 cornerback questions here. Michael Mann said, will Dax be a slot corner? And
not looking like it.
Not looking like it. I think he put him on the outside. And Smash said, who wins cornerback 2? I think they want Dax to win it, and they put him. He's been playing out. Has anybody seen him in slot? I mean, I heard the video I've seen. He's on the outside.
No, I think they're wanting to give him every chance to earn that outside role. I still don't see it in general from his time at Michigan. Mm-hmm. But if he can prove to do it, that's awesome because you need multiple guys. You're going to need both of them. You're going to need him and Turner at outside. But, you can move guys around also. We know that Dax can cover tight ends. You can find specialist roles for him. And Turner's long-term future, or Dax's, might be slot corner, as Michael mentioned.
Well, because Hilton, this could be Hilton's last year as a Bengal. I think his contract's up after this year.
He's a guy I think they could extend like they did with Teddy. I think
I love they extended Teddy K. That's awesome. I think Teddy K, that means he's a Bengal he's going to retire a Bengal, hopefully. Cares 316, baby. Exactly. So get back to Dax. And I agree. He's never shown that he can play outside, but he's athletic enough and fast enough to do it.
It's true. And big.
He's got everything you need to do it. He's just never done it. So I think, it looks like he can do it, but
yeah, I could blow smoke up your ass right now and be like, based on the reports, he's going to be a lockdown outside corner.
Right.
I need to see it. Like, he needs to play a lot in preseason. I think him and Turner both should play quite a bit in preseason because I think we need to see it against other teams and not just the same team, not in practice. I need to see it. That's it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Chop here says, I think they are not playing Von Bell anything, and they brought him in as a mentor. Who knows Lou's defense to teach Battle. I doubt that Battle is not the starter this year, in my opinion. You don't think Von Bell's going to play at all? I don't know about that.
No,
I think Von Bell's going to play, and I think
Yeah.
it's more of the three safety. Like I said, unless
could be a matchup thing too.
It could
I
be
mean,
too.
we talked about Geno Stone, and sometimes his tackling ability isn't the
Right.
greatest. Like
and we talk
playing the Ravens,
how
what's
does-
the thing you need to stop the most, especially now that they have Derrick Henry?
Mhm.
You need to stop the run. You might see Battle and Bell
Mhm.
starting over Geno Stone, and then you get a little lead or certain third downs. Geno Stone's in.
It
I
just
think
gives
Lou will
more-
have a plan for all these guys
And
per
gives a little
game
more stuff to mix and match, which is what he
Yes.
likes.
and depth, right?
Yes.
Injuries happen. Like
Mhm.
it's
We
a
had it
good
last year.
problem to have.
Right. I mean, like I said, I would still. I've said this before. I still would like them to get another corner. I wish they bring another veteran in.
Yes.
At least
We
to
say that
compete.
every time.
I know, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. That's just one thing that's like, it would be nice because they got the money. Go get one just to help out because depth.
And
is,
I'm hoping that Josh Newton, but it's like you're asking a 5th round pick
Yeah.
to kind of be like in an emergency situation right now. It's like your next guy up at outside corner at 5'10", 190. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Maybe. Hopefully we're wrong, and maybe he shows up and he balls out. I don't know, but yeah, we'll see. What's up, Robert? Holmes here, my boy, my Tweety Birds fan. I want to know how long has Dale graded the college players for his mock NFL draft? He evaluates talent like a professional. Is this a possible career change? I think it should be. I think he should go into business.
I just enjoy doing it. I've watched so many for the next year's class. Like I've already ranked. I think I've watched like over 300 players already for the 2025 class, which is stupid because you don't know who's going to come out and this, that, and the other. But I enjoy doing it. It's not a career change unless
It should
somebody
be.
wants to back
Should be.
up the Brinks truck.
It
but-
should be. We should come out with a Dale Altman. We already had it once. We need it. You and said.
But no, I've been watching and evaluating for several years. Like I've been into the draft for over 10 years, but like to really get into it and just the way all 22 and stuff comes out and having access to that, it makes it easier as just like somebody who doesn't have a network behind them.
You should replace Bill Cosby. I agree. I think you should definitely replace Bill. Yes, right there. Sleeveless Dale. How would you like to see this face right here on ESPN all the time? Right there.
I'd
All
be taking
beard,
way more
no-
bathroom breaks because I'd be like, I'm still drinking my beer, bitches. You can't change me. You can't put this bird in a cage. I'm a peacock. You got to let me fly.
Oh, God. Anyway, if you guys have not watched Bengals and Brews this week, you should go back and watch it. They had two of the former Bengals offensive coordinators, Hugh Jackson and Jay Gruden on this week, back-to-back episodes. So definitely
And
go check them out. And what? Yeah, go ahead.
Monday, we'll have Ken Zampese, who was with the Bengals for 14 years, quarterback coach when they had, Carson, Andy. He's offense coordinator for a little bit. I think he's still working in the league. I think this year he's going to be like a senior advisor for the Falcons. So
There you go. Wasn't he our OC after Hugh Jackson left? And it didn't work out so hot? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I wouldn't bring that part. I wouldn't bring that up.
Yeah, I
too.
probably won't bring that part up.
Hey, so why did the offense suck the year you became the offense coordinator?
Well, I mean, he was like known as a quarterback,
guru.
quarterback guru
Yeah.
kind of guy, and he was with the Browns for a hot minute too. I think as offense coordinator when Hugh was the head coach, which also didn't go well. Probably won't bring that up.
We're over here.
But no, man, it's just cool to talk to these guys and talk about some former players and even things now that they see from the outside if they're not in the league. Like that was asking Hugh, different questions about why is scoring down and rule changes and stuff like that. So good shit, man. Good.
And he
people to
had
talk
a
to.
very, very good rant. Well, I didn't say rant, but comment about Willie Anderson, Big Willie.
Yeah, and like Willie quote tweeted that was saying, which I never knew that till Hugh said that. I mean, I never seen it. Maybe it was out there before, but Willie would bring in doctors and stuff for the whole team and the staff and all this, like to make sure everybody. So he said he was doing TB12 shit for the team before TB12, and he still does it with the Willie Anderson Lineman Academy and stuff he was talking about. So he just made sure everybody was right. Like, he wanted to win that bad. Like, Willie is, in my opinion, and I think yours too, the best right tackle.
Yes.
And right tackle, we see how important. Both sides are very important. We talk about that as Bengals.
Right tackle's finally starting to get some money now. They're finally putting some respect on the right tackles. It was always, the blind side, the left tackle, but right tackle is it's
They're
just
both
as important. Yeah, and Will, I've said this on there a million times. Willie should already be in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully this year he doesn't get snubbed like he has the last couple of years, and we get him in, and hopefully Ken Anderson, and maybe someday somebody named Clock Killing Corey Dillon will get him in there too.
Yeah, Corey, and then you guys like Geno Atkins that was mentioned earlier, like, and that's the Ring of Honor, which hopefully we hear about that sometime over the summer. I hope Corey gets in for that, man. He deserves it. Clock killing Corey Dillon.
Clock killing Corey mother bleeping Dillon. All right, dude. Well, it's Friday. I am now. I won't say I'm without a wife. She's in Florida visiting her father, so I'm going out.
He's going out on the town. Y'all in Cincinnati, hit Jeff up. Party time.
No, I got to go to work tomorrow, so I'm not going to go that far.
But you're going out.
I'm going out. And I'm not, but hey, you know what? But I know you're not going to come because you guys got your own tailgate. But I have my own tailgate now at Moorline Lager House. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, you did, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think you should just show up. So just at least once, just come hang out with your boy.
So far away from Lot 1.
Because what sucks is like you, Pork Chop, and Greg and Story are going to be at Lot 1. I'm like, you guys aren't going to come visit me one time. I see how you are. Like, whatever. Just go do your thing. Lot 1. Like, okay.
You never know, man. You never know what wild hair I'll get up my ass. I venture at times. There's always a chance, baby.
Yes. There's a chance. Because I'm not going to sit next to you this year, which sucks.
More loin, you can back up the Brink trucks for me, and I'll be there for a game.
There you go. All right, Dale. Appreciate it.
Or free beer, because, I'm pretty cheap.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff for free beer. Tell everybody where to find your show and stuff real quick before I let you go.
Bengals and Bruce.
How many days are you on?
Usually Monday and Friday at 3:30.
And so unless you have a special guest.
Yeah, like Hugh Jackson. That was yesterday at 3:30.
All right, brother. Love you. Hooday.
Love you too, man. Good show.
Thanks, buddy. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Pork Chop, what'd you say? We will be there when we sell out too. Oh, I'm a sellout now? Oh, damn. That's all mean, Chop. God, you called me a sellout. That's hurtful. On that note, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Shout out to my sponsors of the show, which I guess the one I apparently sold out to. Moorline Lager House, appreciate them. Go check them out this weekend. They got Paul McCartney's birthday this weekend, Father's Day events going on down there all weekend. Check them out. Reds games down there. Go down there, enjoy some delicious Moorline beer before you go to the Reds game. Watch them win 2 in a row. Also, if you guys have not checked out Midwest Best Barbecue, why the hell not? Please go out there. Ward's Corner Avenue. Tell Tim and Nicole Iceman sent you. Check out some CTB wings, some Uno wings, G-Funk, pulled pork sandwiches. The chili is delicious when he has that. Also, if you guys look for windows and doors, check it out at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. I say window, doors, and more. And like I always say, ask Maddie what the more is. That's what I want. Iceman wants to know what the more is. Find out for me. Also, Hail Marys, your ticket to the game right there in the heart of Cheviot. Make sure you go check it out tonight. There's beer trucks. Well, beer trucks. They got trucks that bring beer, but they have food trucks there, beer specials, free parking, all that's cool stuff. Make sure you guys check that out. Again, thanks for watching. I've been live streaming on ZTV, Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Twitch. You follow me on all those along with Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. I'll be back here Monday. We'll have the great clock killing Corey Dillon, and Bengals captain will be here with me. I got Jay Morrison on next week. I also have AC, the Godfather, is going to be on. Reach out to a couple other people and see who I can get. Other than that, I'll see you guys Monday. Throw it up. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Throw it up. That's just sports, baby. See ya!